Carnival is canceled. Officially postponed, but probably canceled. Hi there, I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English lesson number 302. The producer of this lesson is JR. You heard him from last week, and the full lesson is online at plainenglish.com/302. So you can read the full transcript right from your phone as you listen. It's one of the great free features we have on plainenglish.com. On today's lesson, Rio de Janeiro's samba schools have canceled the city's world-famous carnival. What will Brazil be like in February without carnival? The expression today is to keep your options open, and we have a quote of the week. On February 3rd, 1959, a plane crashed in Clear Lake, Iowa, in the United States, killing 3 promising rock and roll musicians. The day later became known in America as the day the music died. In Brazil, the music died on September 25th, 2020, the day that Rio de Janeiro's League of Samba Schools, or LIESA, announced the 2021 Carnival would be postponed indefinitely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The parade organizers decided that it would be too risky to host the event without a vaccine. It is the first time festivities have been canceled since 1912. The Carnival is a music, dance, and cultural festival held each year before Lent, usually at the end of February. It is one of the world's largest parties, with over 2 million people in the streets each day. The official parade features many of the city's samba schools performing amid elaborately designed floats, costumes, and sets. A samba school is a private club of drummers, dancers, musicians, and marchers. They dance, sing, and perform, hoping to impress a panel of judges as tens of thousands watch live and millions more watch on television. Last year, floats included mermaids, people in cowboy costumes, unicorns, elephants, dragons, superheroes, and public figures. Individuals dressed up or dressed down in elaborate costumes, makeup, and hairstyles. The official parade grounds are in the Sambadrome, a packed exhibition area for the official performances. But the carnival atmosphere engulfs the city and features exclusive private parties and anything-goes street festivals. Hundreds of small parties, called blocos, break out across the city, some of them with thousands of partiers each. For most people, Carnival is a party and a celebration. For others, it's a livelihood. The announcement dealt a tragic blow to the many people who make their living preparing for the world's biggest party. They are the costume designers, carpenters, sculptors, jewelry makers, security guards, restaurant and bar owners, and many others that make a large part of their annual income from preparing for and serving the festival. In addition to the party, Carnival is also a time to make political commentary and skewer people in power. That would have been especially welcome this year as people are frustrated with the government's handling of the pandemic. Revelers will be deprived of the opportunity to express their opinions in their traditional Brazilian fashion. The question now is, what is going to happen between February 12th and February 17th in Rio? With the official parade off, will the city still heave with visitors and revelers, or will people stay inside and respect social distance? Individual samba schools. Despite the name, samba schools are samba clubs or organizations, not instructional schools. The individual samba schools are keeping their options open. They may choose to perform individually away from the official parade grounds, and they may visit the street parties that typically pop up. Some people have said that the only responsible thing to do is to cancel the parties, and that samba schools are acting in a more responsible manner than the country's government leaders. Others say that the carnival lives inside everyone and that people will find a way to party regardless of the official parade or guidance. Rio's government will have to decide how much of the informal street parties it will allow this year. The city's tourism agency, responsible for promoting Carnival to travelers around the world, said that it would be hard to promote a party like that without a vaccine. Each year, Rio's Carnival attracts over 2 million visitors and generates $725 million in tourism spending. Sao Paulo, Brazil's largest city, canceled its carnival in July. Brazil has suffered more than most countries. Its first case of COVID-19 was identified on February 26th, one day after the 2020 festival ended. Since then, over 130,000 Brazilians have died of COVID-19, the second most of any country except the U.S. I'm not one for crowds, but that is one thing I'd like to see once COVID is fully and completely in our rear view mirror. I even wonder, based on the news, what would even be possible in 2022. Ouch. I'd love to see your pictures and hear your stories about Carnival. We have a lot of Brazilian listeners, but I also suspect we have listeners from other countries that have been to Carnival. Maybe you were among the 2 million tourists that visited Rio last year or a previous year. So tell us what Carnival means to you, what it's like in your town. Share some memories in our Facebook group. You can join by visiting plainenglish.com/Facebook. Today's expression is to keep your options open. When you keep your options open, you have not yet made a final decision. You have a choice to make, and you have not yet declared your official final choice. In this way, you still have options. You have not restricted your own choice. Think back to how you heard it earlier. The samba schools, the samba organizations usually compete in the samba drome in front of an official panel of parade judges. That event has been canceled, officially postponed, but probably canceled. What might the samba schools do? They might decide not to perform at all. That's certainly one option. They might decide to perform out on the street if the city allows it, or even if the city does not officially allow it. They might go to a less populated area, perform there, and invite the media to film it. They might try to rent out a big location and invite spectators to watch in a socially distanced fashion. These are all options. Some are more likely than others, but they are all options. And the samba schools are not saying right now what they are going to do. They are keeping their options open. They are not committing themselves to choosing just one of the options now. It's October 2020. Carnival would be in February 2021. So there are still 3 to 4 months before the traditional carnival time. The samba schools don't know what is going to happen between now and then, and they will probably get together to try to plan something. In the meantime, they don't want to officially eliminate any of the options, so they are keeping their options open. We talked about the difficulty that live music venues are having in these tough times. I read about the owner of a live music club that recently offered his building for sale. But that doesn't mean he's closing forever. He told a newspaper that he's keeping his options open. Maybe he'll sell the building, but he's not 100% sure. Maybe he'll sell the building, but look to rent it back from the new owner. That could buy him some time. Or maybe he'll close and look for a cheaper place in a few years. Or guess what? Maybe he won't sell the building after all. All he did was offer it for sale. He's keeping his options open. He has several options, and he's not committing to one just yet. I've been talking to some friends around Chicago, and many people are starting to think about doing some kind of travel in the spring or summer next year. But they don't know exactly what they'll want to do. Will a beach vacation be okay? How about traveling to big cities? We don't really know yet what things will be like. My friends are keeping their options open. They're starting to look at destinations, but not making any solid plans. Airlines and hotels are helping consumers keep their options open. You can now book a flight and change it without a penalty. This lets you make a reservation, but also keep your options open at the same time. The winter holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, are big travel days in America. but I suspect a lot of people are keeping their options open for holiday travel. They may stay home, have smaller gatherings, or carry on as usual. I think a lot of people are keeping their options open. Sometimes when you say, I'm keeping my options open, you want to make someone else nervous. You don't want to reveal what your options are. You might even want the other person or the other side to fear the worst. It's a negotiating tactic. In our update episode last week, we talked about the poisoning of the Russian activist Alexei Navalny. I mentioned that Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, was running out of patience with Russia's geopolitical bad behavior. This poisoning, if in fact it is true, would violate an international treaty on chemical weapons. As of the time I'm recording this lesson, Germany has not decided what type of sanctions or punishment it might impose on Russia in retaliation. They have not even said what sanctions or punishment they are considering. They are saying that they are keeping their options open. By saying that they are keeping their options open, they are not revealing their options, but they are saying that they have not eliminated any options. They are keeping their options open. Time for a quote of the week. I read a lot about Brazil's carnival and saw a lot of great quotes from some samba performers and other people involved in carnival, so I wanted to pick one of those. So here we go. The quote is, "Carnival is a cleansing of the soul." That quote is from Nacilda da Silva, 80 years old, the queen of last year's carnival in Rio de Janeiro. Carnival is a cleansing of the soul. Great quote. And that brings us to the end of Plain English for another day. Hey, if you are in Brazil, make sure to log on to our Facebook group and tell us what you think about Carnival. I'm especially curious about what you think will happen in the streets. The official parade is canceled, but what's going to really happen? I'd love to know what you think should happen and what you think will happen, whether or not those two are the same thing. To join the Facebook group, just visit plainenglish.com/Facebook, answer a few quick questions, and you're in. Easy as that. plainenglish.com/Facebook.